The world ends not with a bang, but with a wet fart. And thus begins our Friday stream. It's Friday. What day? Friday, March 3rd. 3rd of March on this Friday. Oh God, I can hear myself twice. So, what are we doing today? Today, we'll zoom in on this thing. So, this is where the illustration ended up yesterday. And I've kind of spent some time cutting it up in the sense that, let's look at, so here's the final illustration, but, oh wait, anyway, I'll just explain it since I did a bad job saving my files. So what do we got here? I've lost all focus as soon as we started. I was like, came in here with a game plan. I was like, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to explain it like this. And then I forgot. So, I did this illustration, but it was constructed in such a way that, you had elements. Okay. Let's start with the goals here. Let's start with the goals. I knew from the start that I wanted this green glow. I wanted this glow to like pulse, right? And so I started breaking it up. I put all the green stuff on one layer, as you can see here. All the green stuff on one layer, so that I could then drop that into Photoshop, so that I could make all the different frames and adjust the opacity for the green so that it would pulse. But then as I started working on that, I was like, well, if that's pulsing, then I feel like this light should be flickering. It's weird if the light's not doing anything. And then it was like, well, if the light's flickering, then I need to put all of the smoke and stuff on the same layer so that I can adjust the opacity of all of it at once. And then it was like, well, if I'm going to do that, then I might as well make the cigarette ember glow. And if I'm doing that, then I might as well make his little hologram patch glow. So it just led to, give a mouse a cookie. He's going to want to animate all the light. So here's the final vector file. And you can see I've separated everything off. So I'll zoom in a little bit here. So just so we can see. So the cigarette ember, you see that? That's that's on its own thing. So it can be toggled on and off. The hologram is on its own thing, so it can be adjusted independently. The glow here is all on its own layer. And the light and everything that the light impacts is on its own layer. So it looks weird when you turn it on and off, but if you can see if it's flickering, it adjusts it affects all the smoke and stuff. It works pretty well. It's a pretty convincing, simple effect. And then the streetlights hologram control panel is on its own thing. So, what have I done? I've gone ahead and exported all of these things as PNGs because that is really boring and no one wants to watch that. So I figured I would just do it before the show. So, whoops. So what we have here, we have a base layer that's unaffected. I'm going to animate it in Photoshop just because there's nothing really moving. It's just adjusting opacity levels of stuff to make it look like it's flickering and whatnot. So you can see here, what I did was I saved the base illustration. Nothing here moves. That all stays the same. And then at the same size with a transparent background, saved each layer that can animate or flicker or whatever, so that I can adjust that accordingly and independently and make a bunch of frames where all of that stuff can be doing its own thing. So that's what we're doing. And we can start this by, we're going to go into Photoshop and go to scripts and load files into Stack. And we're going to find all of these files. And please God, everything should align fine because they're all the same size. I didn't nudge anything. It should all go smoothly here. So we're going to open. Okay, and what this will do is it'll just put all of these files in one and auto align them. Well, it doesn't have to do any alignment because they're all the same size. So, okay, here's the moment of truth. Aha, it worked. Okay. So there, now you can just like toggle stuff on and off. And strobe light. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. So, the way that I usually, this is different. This is a new thing that I'm giving a shot. Usually when I animate stuff, I make all the frames in Illustrator. So I adjust each frame independently and then do the batch import into Photoshop. So the big difference here is that I've separated all the elements so I can just adjust each frame in Photoshop. I think this will make it easier, but we'll find out, won't we? So I open my timeline, go to Window Timeline, and create Video Timeline. And down here, I'm going to select this 3 squares icon that has no tooltip, and that turns it into a frame animation. So let's see, so I can just see how do I want to do this. It is a shame that GIFs can't have audio. It would be fun. You can tell people, there's sites where you can mash up like YouTube videos with a GIF, so you can kind of give it audio that way. And Japanese anime. No. All right. All right. So let's animate this. I use the term animate loosely. I'm just going to copy this frame and just paste it after. God, do I have to do this every time? Oh, I guess I can. So then I should be able to toggle on and off stuff independently in each layer. Yep, okay, excellent. Okay, so then I'm going to copy 3 layers. I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to paste after. Since the only thing in here that has a steady rhythm to it is going to be the green glow, I'll figure out how many frames I want that to be, and then illustrate everything else. So like one thing that I like to do in GIFs a lot is I like to kind of try to mask the looping point as best I can. And usually that is finding one thing that has a rhythm, like the glow in this point. If the glow happens over 8 frames, then I might make 24, right? Run it 3 times, make 24 frames, and within each one of those 8 frame segments, make little things happen a little differently. So like an eye will blink sporadically, something will flicker, so it gives you more range, it gives you more frames to kind of play with in there. Can you, let's see, oh wait, no, select all. Oh, I can. All right, thank you, Dylan. So I can hold Option and drag the frames to duplicate them. So I think the time that I usually use is like 0.08 seconds. Okay, so green glow is at 100, so let's say it goes to 90, 80, and I'm just selecting each frame and adjusting it in there. 70, 60, 50, 40. So, and the other thing to remember is since it's pulsing, it has to go down to a point and then back up and down and back up. So, like the whole loop here will be, let's see if it goes down to that point. Okay, let's see. And then what I can do is I can duplicate these, and then with those selected, go to click this little options thing and go to reverse frames, and that'll flip them so they play in reverse. I'll get rid of the last frame since it's the same as the first frame. If I don't get rid of it, you'll see here. Well, you can't really see it on here, but it will. It hangs a little bit on this one frame since it's in there twice, whereas every other frame is just in there once. So there you have a little pulse and glow thing. I did it. Okay, we're done. So what we're gonna do today is I'm going to do this, and we're gonna call it quits. So this might be a pretty quick stream depending on how things go. But it makes sense to end the week with ending this kind of series that's been illustrating this figure. So, okay, so we have the green glow happening. Let's duplicate all of these. So I have a 24 frame. All right. So let's say the cigarette is not lit here. So 0. Let's let the cigarette be a little bit of a surprise here. And well, the problem is that the background light is flickering too. There's going to be a lot happening at once, so there's no point in holding on to the cigarette until later in the animation. You might as well just make it light up right at the front. Can I select multiple frames and take elements? Yeah, I can. I just can't adjust the opacity. I see. Josh did not confirm his address. I will check. I will nudge him again. Let's see. Let's see. Megs, can you IM me Josh's address so I can send it to him and make sure it's okay? Okay, you can just use that one too. It would be cool if there are little bits of green reflecting on the edges, unlike the edge of his other boot. Too late for that. Too late for those suggestions. Okay, cigarette works pretty well. All right, a hologram. Let's make you flicker, buddy. Okay. My Switch has not arrived, and I don't know if / when it will. Okay, hollow panel light. Yeah, so my Switch, so Walmart changed it to shipping last night. That's the most recent thing. Changed it to shipping. No, changed it to shipping this morning. Said that it shipped out on yesterday at 6 a.m. Their site says that it will arrive here between the 3rd and the 6th. When you click for more details on the shipping, it says that it's confirmed for the 3rd. They sent me an email that said that it will arrive on the 6th. And in the tracking in that email, FedEx says it will arrive today. So it's anyone's guess when this damn thing is going to show up. Regardless, I can count on Amazon. Amazon says, and Amazon is always on top of this shit. Amazon says that my Switch will get here, or that Zelda will get here today. So even if my Switch doesn't get here, I have Zelda to I can just look at it. Wait a second. There's a fuck up. Which fuck up is this layer on? Okay, it's on the lights layer. Can you all see the fuck up? Let's... Nice. You don't even have to worry about it. The fuck up is this line here. There's a line. It's unfortunate. But now that I've seen it, I can't just ignore it. What's this? You what, mate? What's this, mate? Let's see. How did this happen? How? What happened? Why do you do this to me? You know what? That one I'm going to write off as good enough. Let's see. Okay. Another thing that messed up. It's the thing. The more complex the illustration gets, the more things there are to accidentally fuck up. And I'm doing it. I'm ruining it. So let's see. I'll take the outer glow off of that. See, so two things I noticed upon doing this. One, this line, bad. And then when I get rid of the light hologram, the two, I'm pointing at the screen like you can see this. These two things, there should still be something there when the light's off, right? Because the things that beam the light aren't going to disappear. So those should be here so that when I turn that off, boop, 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 see? Okay. So with these issues fixed, time to start over. Hey, wait, you know what? Now is actually, Ben, you suggested that I add a green glow on this boot, and I agree. And since I'm re-exporting this stuff out, now is a great time to do that. Wait, there was a green glow on this boot. It just wasn't very pronounced. I didn't want to do it before because I didn't want to have to re-export. But hey, since we're doing this, if I can find a green glow to sample, there we go. You meant like a straight edge. I don't know what you mean. Okay, well now you'll get to watch me. Now you'll get to watch me export all of these things again. Remember the part that I said was so boring no one would ever want to watch on the stream? Well, now you get to see it. Hey, this is all about being transparent with process, and screwing something up the first try is sadly part of my process. So we're going to export these at slightly larger. 1500. So just make a new thing. Oh yeah, I want to do something for that. Did they update the site with like specs and stuff? The top right of his middle finger still have a straight edge. Yeah, it's not rounded there. Rounding it doesn't really make it more clear, and it just kind of adds an unnecessary negative space right here that I'm not super into. I much like the cleanliness of it butting right up against that shape. Yeah, I've never done it before either, Jeff. But I am interested in doing it. Okay, so now that we got our layers, we're going to do our... See, we'll save this one as support first. And we're going to go to do our automate things, scripts, load files into stack. Yeah, no worries, Elson. I appreciate you pointing it out. That stuff is good because that stuff is good because it challenges me. It makes me look at it and remember if I had a specific decision for doing that or if it was just something that I wasn't paying attention to. So I always tell my students and stuff to have a reason for every decision that you make when you're doing something. That way, when someone presses you about it, it's never, oh, I don't know, or I just thought it looked cool. There should always be a reason for doing stuff. All right. No screw ups. More glow. All right. So I'm going to do everything that I did on the other one. Why can't I? Okay, let's get this. How did the hollow? Just deleted all the layers. 90, 80, 70, 60, 50. Maybe I want this pulse to last longer, so it's not quite as constant. I taught a class last summer, and they contacted me and asked me if I would teach the class again this summer. So I am going to teach that class. It's the for people unfamiliar. MCAD, the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, has a post-baccalaureate program, and I taught a class last summer that helped. The point was to help students make work to put in their portfolio that would get them jobs that they wanted to get. So figuring out what they were interested in, and then figuring out projects that they can make to serve that interest. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I had a good class. The end game for me has always been to teach eventually, but not until I've gotten years and years of experience, so I can be as helpful as possible to my students. All right, this should be a much slower pulse. Yeah. So that way it's definitely still recognizable, but it doesn't demand quite as much attention as it did here, where it's pulsing faster. So that way some of the other elements can be noticed rather than that pulse just constantly going and hogging it. Yeah, I can't speak to the program at large, but I taught a good class. It's the least humble shit ever. Based on the reviews I received from my students, I taught a good class, I think. There are there's room for improvement, as there always is. Let's see, how did I do this cigarette in this one? Let's see, 0%, 50, 100. $75, 50, 40, 25. Okay. How long did that last time? It was a good... From frame 3 to 14. Okay, 10 frames. So we'll do from 7 to 17. Hi, Aaron. Oh, fancy seeing you around these parts. I want that cigarette to go on a little longer. Oh, awesome. I'm sorry that you have a sinus infection. That is no fun. I have like a weird thing in the back of my throat. It's like, it feels like the wrapper of a kernel got like stuck in my sinuses or something. That sounds really gross. I guess it is really gross. It's a gross thing. This is the guy that's taking drags off cigarettes and never exhaling. Just lets the smoke die in his lungs. Hi, Leah. Hi, Leah. Let's see. It all blended together to make one word. Okay. Really, right now I'm just going through the layers and toggling stuff on and off and then playing through it to see how it works. So let's see, we got that back light. Let's see. Light hollow. So I make these holograms so that they flicker and then like rest at a slighter lower opacity and then like jump kick back on. Will you stream from your Nintendo Switch playing Zelda? Maybe, if that's something I can do. Okay, so you have no idea what I'm doing. Do you have questions? So basically, what I did was I'm not sure if you were here for the beginning, but I separated this so all the light layers are on separate levels. Let's see, layers above the main illustration so that I can like turn light sources on and off. And yeah, and so now in Photoshop, I made an animation timeline down here. And in each frame, you can adjust which layers are on and off. So I'm toggling layers on and off to create like flickering lights and stuff. How long did this take to make? I'm not sure. I've not worked on this off stream at all. So I'd have to look back. But I mean, it's been a lot longer than usual illustrations because there are multiple elements to it. I tried to be more diligent about being purposeful with my lighting instead of putting it as an afterthought. And yeah, all of that, I mean, I would say maybe this is total like 12 hours worth of work. So over a day's worth. So let's see, when that light dims, maybe this base should dim a little bit too to put everything in shadow. Probably not that much. I've been using Illustrator pretty heavily for 6 years, maybe 6 years, 6.5. I didn't use it at all for the first 2 years that I worked, just because I was doing movie posters, and you don't really use Illustrator very much in that. But then I moved to Minneapolis and use Illustrator a lot, and you use Illustrator a lot for like branding projects and stuff like that. So I kind of had to learn Illustrator. When did I start illustrating? The way that I do now, not really until I started working at Google. So when did I start working at Google? 2012. So about 5 years. 2011. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's basically when I started illustrating. See, I feel like things are slightly sped up when you save it. And it also ruins all of the gradients. Save it at any of my early work on the internet. I worked at Google. I haven't worked at Google for 3 years, 3.5 years, more. Hold on, I'll bring up some of my old illustration work in just a second. That LOL was for a chat someone sent me. Rogue LOL. Oh god, look at those gradients. Oh, it makes me want to die. What's a way that we can... Let's see, we might be able to clean up some of these gradients by adding a noise layer. Let's see. Early illustration stuff. Let's take a look at some early illustration stuff. See, probably some of the earliest stuff, even before I started working at Google, was threadless things that I made. I made this. Literal band posters, that's right. That goes back to when I was like a year out of school. Let's see. Literal band posters. So these were literal band posters. Bad Religion. I mean, the names speak for themselves here. Blitzen Trapper. This was Meg's idea, having all of the reindeer except Blitzen. He's been trapped. Rancid was Rancid Meat. These are back in like 2008 when gig posters are really... 2009. This is when this says. This is back when band posters were really big. Transplants. Human organ. Let's see. Where's some stuff that I... This was, no, not super early, but when I was at Google, made a little origami Wind Waker boat. Photos of it. A Wind Waker boat. To get both sides, you had to like make it out of 2 pieces of paper, and then the 2 pieces of paper like nested in each other. Let's see, other early... This is what I made when I moved from California to Minneapolis. Because I'm coming from the West. I'm a Western boy coming into the Midwest. Whoa. So I made these really garish public notice things and sent them to agencies and stuff. So stupid. When I made those posters, Um, 23, maybe 22, 8 or 9 years ago. Let's see. Raygun 52. This is from 2012. For a while, let's see. Megs, can you remember any old, like, bad illustrations? I kind of did a lot of illustration projects for myself by making things for this blog that I kept called Games Designed, and where I designed stuff about the games that I was making, or made stuff about the games that I was playing. So like I made this thing for LA Noire, obviously like Saul Bass. Here's a Metal Gear Solid thing I never posted because it was so bad. I couldn't figure it out. Same with the Shadow of the Colossus thing that I couldn't figure out. It was bad. Oh yeah, Carl. Where is Carl? I did these 30-minute illustration things. These are in 2010. There you go. There's all of them. I still like this tentacle head guy with a cigar and a peg leg. Yeah, obviously much different than the stuff that I make now. The cloud, black smoke monster from Lost. Yeah, I just don't make stuff like this anymore. So yeah, that's what some of my early stuff looked like. I also used to do a lot more like Photoshop heavy things. Like this. This is when I feel like a lot of people were making like fake WWF, World Wildlife Foundation posters. And this was when I was making movie posters, so it's all like really Photoshop heavy, Photoshop intense. Yeah, that's... Where is Carl? I must have not called it Carl. I don't know. Carl is a little robot that Megs and I made. It's a story. There's a story to Carl. Okay, let's go back to see if I can clear up some of these gradients. So one way to fix gradients is to add a noise layer onto them. So you never want to actually add noise on an image in Photoshop. The goal of Photoshop is for everything to remain editable, easily editable, yeah, without ever affecting the original image. So the way that I do noise layers in Photoshop is to first make a new layer, fill it, use Shift F5. Wait, how do I do that? Shift F5. Yep. Fill it with 50% gray. And then what I do is I make that 50% gray layer, convert it to Smart Object. Boom, Smart Object. Set it to multiply, or set it to overlay. So that's just up here. So you're not going to see it now, but when I add grain to it, you will see it. So with that layer selected, go to Filter, Noise, add noise. And the reason that you made it a smart object is because you'll see after this, you can continue to adjust the noise. You can make it so noisy. You can continue to adjust the noise after it. So if you decide you don't like it, you can jump back in here. So let's, I don't know. Let's just go for an even 7. Turn it on monochromatic. And so then here you can see it's a smart filter on that layer now. So you can turn that on or off, or, you know, do whatever you want. It might be a little too strong. 5. I bet my hat looks really nice right now. Does it look really nice? Yeah. Okay, so someone whose name is too tiny for me to read. Thank you for following Mouster Dudley. That's my guess. Mouster Dudley. Okay. Animation 2. Look! Grain. Let's see. So I'll make it bigger here so you can see. So that's what it looked like before. And see, the grain like does a lot to break up these like large areas, these large bands into smaller bits, so the gradient can work a little better. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think there's a lot I would change. I wonder if there'd be an easy way to change the grain on every frame so that it looks kind of like a movie thing. A movie thing, also known as a movie. So if I change the grain amount from like 5 to 6, does that change the grain at all? And does it change it? Is that changing it across everything? Okay, it does. So in order to get a few different grains, I would have to make a few different grain layers and toggle them on and off as this thing progresses. Yeah, I've got time. Why not just mess with it, see what happens? So what I'm going to do is we'll change that to 5. And then I'll just make a few layers. Let's see, 5. And we'll change the grain from, let's see, that will make that one 4. What did I do? What did I do? I double clicked it. I didn't mean to. Okay. I'll change that one to 6. Wait, why didn't I do these? Okay, in numerical order. 4, 6, 3. This bottom one is 5. Okay, so can I rasterize all of these? Yes, rasterize. Okay. So why is it turning them on for all of them? I don't want you to do that. I think I've probably spent about 12 hours on this illustration. Because this is gonna just make the grain pulse. Is it just getting stronger? And yeah, it is. I thought the grains might like shift around, but it's just making it heavier and lighter. But if I rotate them, they'll change. But I think that's changing them for all of them. Yeah. This is a real dumb way to animate just by the seat of my pants. I just don't know that this is worth it. Let me put a gradient layer style on the grain. A gradient layer style on the grain and animate the angle of the gradient. I'm not sure. Right, but making part of the grain, yeah, what I'm trying to accomplish is like a movie grain feel, where the grain shifts from frame to frame. I don't know, this is worth it. Let's see. Ooh, smoky. It is smoky. And the bandit. Well, I think that... Unless I have any, like, revelations... So yeah, I think this is done. It's that anticlimactic thing where you're like, all right, it's done. I finished it. What now? What's next? Well, I like it. I mean, my goals going into this were to make an original illustration that wasn't reliant on an existing property, that had some context, a mood to it, that wasn't just a character isolated, and to take lighting seriously instead of a afterthought. And so I think all of those were successful. I mean, looking at, let's do this. We will blend it. We're gonna blend the hell out of it. But real quick, the first one in this like kind of messing with this style was this apocalypse illustration, which I guess has a mood. It's just much more lighthearted. But probably a better example is the robot. So we look at the robot next to this guy. See, the robot doesn't have any context and it's just kind of floating in a thing. The lighting is from the upper right and it's not very strong lighting. So I think this is, I think they're kind of different kinds of illustrations, but this one feels much more mature than this one. So we did it. Flickering static 3D tutorial. Oh, okay. All right. So, shall we blend this and see what happens? And then we'll close out today's stream. And then, because I don't have any client work, we're going to a matinee of Logan because I like Wolverine a lot. So that'll be fun. And then hopefully my Switch comes and I can play video games. Excuse me. It's very rude. And I need to eat lunch before we go to the movie. So, all right, blend time. Blend time. Let's first make sure everything is unlocked. See, there were things locked. It would have been a huge mistake. So I'm going to hide all of this stuff so we can see what we're doing. So with everything selected, we're going to play Will It Blend? It always blends. I mean, but it's more fun as a question. So with everything selected, we'll go up to Object, Blend, Make. Illustrator just got rid of all the color. What? What did you do, Illustrator? What did you do? I mean, it's interesting. It looks like the cloud, like when cartoon characters fight, and it's just like a indiscernible cloud. Stealth drive activated. What happens if you oh, I bet I know part of why it might have. Nope, that had very little effect. It's a mess. There's too much. There's too much. It doesn't know what to do. It's freaking out. It can't handle it. It can't handle the pressure. We broke the day the blend. Wait, what happens if you just blend part of it? If you don't blend the whole illustration, what's that mess look like? Blend, make. Super weird. It's like there's some of it that's okay, but then a lot of it is definitely broken. Well, that's kind of interesting. One day I will incorporate the blend tool into something that I make. Not the correct blend tool, not the way you're supposed to use it, but the way I use it, where I just break things. My favorite thing about this illustration is when you turn off all the layers except for the green glow. Look, it's neat. It would be fun to do a whole illustration that's just from a light source like that. See how much you can show. But it's neat. Okay, well, spoopy. So, thanks everyone. This file, the whole process for making it will be on the Twitch stream archive on YouTube that all you fine Patreon people have access to. This file and the GIF will be available to Patreon people as well. And we always make that available the month after. So at the beginning of April, you will get a link to the Dropbox file that has this and anything else we make this month. It's only the 3rd, so there's much more to make. So, thanks everyone for hanging out today. If you're getting a Switch, have fun with that Switch. Let's bring up the final results. It's here at the end. Have fun with that Switch. If you're not, have fun doing whatever you're doing this weekend. And I will be back streaming on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. That's the schedule. So everyone have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out. Support me on Patreon if you feel like it. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, favorite, tell your friends, comment, leave a comment in the comment section, other YouTube things. Okay, I'm done. Bye.